What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we're going to be making a video that I didn't think I was going to be making, at least not this soon. I had a concept for a video I wanted to do here in about a month, but after watching all the news, after seeing everything that's been going on, I really feel like this video is more important than ever, so I wanted to get it out to you guys, and I wanted to give you my thoughts and my opinions, for better or for worse. Remember, that's what those are. They're educated opinions, however. And I wanted to talk about 5 guns that you might want to have right now. These are going to be guns that are affordable for everybody. At least I'm going to try to make them affordable for everybody. I'm going to give people a couple options. If you want to upgrade, you can do so. But I do want to talk about 5 guns that I think it would be important for everybody to have, especially during the crazy shit that's been going on lately in the United States and honestly around the world. This is directed at everybody around the United States that has the freedom to buy the firearms that they need to protect themselves. But honestly, for anybody watching this, any way you can adapt these to help yourself and to protect your family, the better. Now, before we get into the guns, I do want to mention, I personally believe it is your responsibility to take care of your own safety. Not only your own safety, but the safety of those around you if you are capable. That's not a thought that most people follow. However, I know a lot of people out there that are afraid to get into self-defense because they don't want to make anything worse. They're afraid of guns, they don't even want to get near them. And honestly, I sort of feel like being afraid of an inanimate object is a little silly, especially when the world is dangerous, whether you like it or not. You can't just hope your way out of a problem. Problems will eventually happen, and just being prepared for them is the best thing that you can do. I know people say real men fight with their hands, but in my personal opinion, real men fight to win, especially when their family is at risk and especially when people around them are at risk. My goal for this channel is to give good people, people that seem to be forgotten by their government and all the people around them, the ability to protect themselves from nefarious characters that might want to do harm to you or other people. If you believe that and you want to get into that and you want to protect yourself, but you can't do it because of financial reasons, I completely understand that, because the economy is what it is. And yesterday I shot a Lago Arms alien, and with full understanding that almost no one can afford that. So today I thought it might be good to give you 5 guns you can afford that can work and you can use to help yourself and others. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. We try to give you honest, independent reviews, and we really appreciate your help. So if you want to help the channel, if you like this video, feel free to go to our Patreon and sign up. Also in that description where the Patreon link is a link to a local shelter named Iowa. It's the YSS. It is a youth shelter. Those kids could really use your help. That being said, let's get into number 1 with a concealed carry pistol. Now I know that's broad, but we're going to talk about a couple very specific ones, but any handgun you can concealed carry will do. And I know that a lot of states in this country now have constitutional carry that have eliminated the barrier to self-defense. I like that a lot because I don't love government oversight, but that gives people the misconceived perception that you don't have to train with the gun. Handguns are very difficult to shoot. They're more difficult than rifles. They're more difficult than shotguns. They take a learning curve. Now, I understand that in self-defense, just brandishing a firearm can work, but always be prepared for the worst scenario. You have to understand that having a gun can elevate the threat level as well, and having a gun while not being prepared to use one is not necessarily a good idea. That being said, a concealed carry pistol is what you are going to have on you when shit goes down. Is a pistol the greatest self-defense weapon? Absolutely not. Do I recommend just a pistol over anything else for home defense? Absolutely not. But you can't carry a GAR-17 in your pants, and if you can, you have too big of pants. That being said, you can carry a handgun, something like this Canik MC9, for example. Now, this is a 9mm striker-fired polymer frame pistol. It is super cheap. These can be had for under $350. It is optics ready. It has very capable steel sights that are not going to break. It has front slide serration so you can run the gun from front or back, and it has a really easy to use trigger. A lot of people, when they start shooting with handguns, they realize pretty quickly trigger control is the thing that you have to master. But with a lighter trigger, it is a little bit less effort. Now, the downside to a lighter trigger is that negligent discharges can happen when we break the firearm safety rules. Make sure to keep your finger out of the freaking trigger guard before you are ready to fire. Keep that in mind, especially with a Canik, because it has a 1911 style trigger with no safety. So the gun itself comes with one 12-round magazine and one 15-round magazine. Keep one 12-round in the gun, one 15-round magazine in your pocket. It's so light and small that you can carry it anywhere, and if something pops off like a robbery or an active shooter scenario, you can deal with that as best you can and get out of there. Keep your family safe, keep the people around you safe, and if you have to, engage that target. Hopefully you don't, but if you do, you'll have enough rounds and the proper round to deal with that. 9mm is a small, inept round when compared to rifle rounds, but it is a very decent pistol round. Now with pistols, you're going to be poking holes, whereas shotguns and rifles, temporal cavities, which we'll talk about later, but it's very, very important to be accurate with your handgun. Very important, because you have to hit vital areas in order to stop a threat with a handgun, especially quickly. The idea is to stop the threat before he can do damage to you. Other guns that fit in this category are obviously going to be guns like the Sig P322, a subcompact model, and this will work as well. It's light, is small, 9mm caliber, and has a 12 or a 15-round magazine capacity. Very nice gun. Other guns, the P365, the Glock 43X, the Shield Plus, all of those are applicable here. Anything that you feel comfortable with that you can carry in a very good holster. By the way, a holster is important. Don't just stick it in your pants. It's either going to fall out, you're not going to be able to draw it when somebody's hitting you in the head with a bat. Holster is very important. It's like $30 to $100 for a quality holster. You can get them on eBay or Amazon. Put this gun in your holster, that way you have no negatives and discharges, and learn to draw from it. The ability to draw under stress and the ability to put a round in a very small space under stress is more important than what it says on the side of your gun. So if you get something cheap like this P10S or a Canik, you can buy several hundred rounds of ammunition, and you can do dry fire practice nightly to get good enough to use this pistol if something ever happens. We don't just rise to the occasion, we rise to the level of our training. I hear so many people say some bullshit like, oh, I'm just gonna black out and they're gonna go down. No, they're not. You're going to lose, and your ego is just trying to protect you. I also want to mention that we've just done our best under series, our best under 350, our best under 500, and our best under 750. So if you're looking for a quality handgun, you can look in my back catalog, and I guarantee you'll find something out of those 30 pistols. Now I know the handgun you have on you now is better than the bazooka you have at home, but let's talk about a couple of bazookas you can buy. I'm just kidding, but it's pretty close. The next thing I want to mention is going to be the Mossberg 88. This is the Mossberg Maverick 88, and this is a shotgun. And the second gun on my list is this, because I feel like a shotgun is the best gun for under $250 that you can buy for self-defense. Not only does this pump action shotgun give you good reliability with a double-aught buck or a slug, which is going to have great terminal effect on your targets. If you have 3 or 4 people walking in your house, you don't want this, you want this. Now, for $250, you get a platform that can be easily pointed, and that's very important because people think with a shotgun, oh, we're gonna get all this spread, I don't have to aim. Yes, you do. You have to remember that your spread is 1 inch per yard. So if your house is 7 yards long, you're getting 7 inches of spread, which is not much. I've seen so many people in classes, in matches, and in hunting miss targets they could have easily hit, and wildly miss them because they get all jittery, the blood starts rushing, and you miss. If you think that happens in hunting, imagine what would happen if you had a guy running at you with a knife or shooting at you with a gun. So keep in mind that good quality reps is still very important with a shotgun. But with a shotgun instead of a handgun, not only do we have more points of contact, we have that spread, but we have extreme lethality by comparison. A double-aught buck round is about the equivalent, depending on what brand you buy, to 8 or 9 .45 caliber slugs hitting you at once. It's like a burst of a Tommy gun. Not only that, but you have 7 or 8 more coming at them if you need to. And if you have 7 or 8 people that break in your house, which is more common now than ever, you have 1 for each of them. You can spread the love. Now, the pump is nice for a couple of reasons. First off, it can run any ammunition that you buy for the most part. Semi-automatics are generally dependent on inertia or gas. Sometimes when you get lower powered ammunition like 8-shot or something like that, it's not gonna work. And you say, why wouldn't you use 8-shot for self-defense anyway? If supply lines get bad and 8-shot's all you find, trust me, in close proximities, that will still do. Now, the Mossberg has a crossbolt safety instead of something like the 590 or the 500. It has a decent trigger, and you have a bit of an issue with the loading gate by comparison into some other rounds. However, it does come equipped with pretty much everything you need to be successful in a home defense scenario right off the bat. It doesn't have a way to mount a light, but honestly, you could duct tape one on there if you have to, and it's gonna work just as good. It certainly won't get you in a surefire magazine cover or anything like that, but it will illuminate a threat, and it will take somebody down with the proper practice. That being said, if you want to upgrade from a shotgun like this Mossberg 88, you want to go to a more expensive shotgun, I get that. You can get guns with all the bells and whistles like the Mossberg 590, or maybe an upgraded Remington 870 for the $500 to $800 mark. And if you want to go big or go home, you can always get a Benelli M4. Those are pretty fucking awesome. Now, is the pump action shotgun the ideal end-all be-all self-defense gun? No, it's not. We've known that for a long time. Military knows it, law enforcement knows it. If you look at any police cruiser, you won't see a pump shotgun sitting in the front seat anymore. You'll see one of these. And despite what the media tells you, a rifle is the best self-defense option in my personal opinion. First off, it has very low recoil compared to a shotgun. If you're like my wife, if you're a small statured person, if you're a 90-pound waitress who comes home every night and she doesn't have time to shoot, and you pick up a 12-gauge shotgun and you try to fire it for the first time, the damn thing literally might knock you back a few feet and you'll be disoriented and you won't know what to do. On top of that, when people have high recoiling firearms, they generally do not train with them because it is not fun. The one thing that the AR-15 is that the media says it's not for sure is fun. I mean, you can watch comparisons of CNN reporters versus like an 11-year-old girl that's training at a country house or something like that, and you can tell one's acting and one isn't. They're gas operated, they have very low recoil because they have a buffer system in the back. A 5.56 round is extremely effective up close. 0 to 50 yards, they are very, very effective, especially out of a 16-inch barrel using the right ammunition. If you're using 77 grain Black Hills out of a 16-inch barrel in home defense range, you are putting in some hurt. I promise you. People say 5.56 is underpowered, but it can deliver a 6 to 10-inch temporal cavity inside your body that your organs will not like, and 29 more are coming real quick. We actually have a second shooter that comes on the channel fairly frequently now, Stephanie. You guys have seen her on the channel for a while. I've actually had her shoot now several semi-automatic rifles. Both of them were 5.56 rifles, and both of them, Stephanie, with no practice whatsoever, could hit at 75 yards with the right directions very, very quickly. You can be very fast, you can be very accurate, and shot placement does matter, and I believe rifles are the most accurate and the easiest to get good shot placement even in close distances. Again, people think, oh, a handgun for close distances, but handguns are very hard to shoot. And if you want to get a good solid impact on, let's say, somebody that's holding your wife hostage, you probably don't want the spread of a shotgun, and you probably don't want the inconsistencies of a pistol. What you want is the accuracy and power of something like an AR-15 or an AK, especially if you have multiple intruders. Like I said, the Mossberg does a good job, the AR-15 does a great job. This Bear Creek Arsenal, we have 1,000 rounds through. We haven't done a full review on it yet. This one has been absolutely excellent. Will you have that full experience every single time? I doubt it, because $400 guns generally have rough quality control. If you want to get into the AR-15 game, it is no longer expensive. You can get in for $400 for this, $500 for Radical Firearms, which in my opinion is very good. We've had 2 of those. Also a Smith & Wesson Sport for the $600 to $800 range, and I would absolutely recommend the IWI Zion, which we got for around $700 and is as good as any AR I've ever tried. So if you want to get to an AR-15, I think it's a great choice for self-defense, especially if you are the man of the house, the woman of the house, and you need to protect the house and you live in a rough neighborhood. If you're banking on police response time, that is way longer than it's ever been, and they're basically going to be there to write the report about how you died. And in my personal opinion, now is the best time ever to take your self-defense in consideration and really take some self-accountability and be prepared for threats that your family might face, because it really is up to you to protect your kids, to protect your wife, to protect your husband. And I really believe the AR-15 is kind of the symbol of that. I really do believe that if you want to get into a self-defense weapon, the AR-15 or an AK is certainly the best. Next, I want to talk about a 22 long rifle of some type. Now, I know, again, super generic answer, but listen to me. A 22 pistol is very, very cheap. It's easy to use, and it will teach you the same overall fundamentals of shooting a pistol that the 9mm will for about a quarter of the cost. No recoil, no blast, and most people are going to get into this gun, especially if you're trying to get your wife to shoot for the first time, if your child to shoot for the first time. The 22 pistol is a great choice for those people because it eliminates a little bit of the intimidation factor. Once you get past the touchy, the feel of the gun, you get used to it, and you go out on the range for the first time and they fire that first shot, man, The low noise, the low recoil, and the ability to hit a little bit more accurately because of that gets people addicted, and it'll allow you to start getting them into shooting firearms without having to scare them away. A lot of times people take a new shooter out and they give them a 12 gauge shotgun. Those people should be kicked in the dick. Stay there. You don't want that. You want somebody to be competent, and you want them to be happy with their choice to help defend themselves, and you want them to be able to be on your side and help you if you ever need help. So I think a 22 pistol is a great idea for not only for training, but it obviously can be used for small game, and it obviously can be used for a plethora of other things as well, even as a concealed carry gun if you need to. If you have arthritic hands, you can't get past the 22, then use a 22. A gun is certainly better than a sharp stick any day of the week. Even this Sig 22 would have been very formidable against a guy with a damn kitchen knife. If you don't want to get a 22 pistol, by all means, get a 22 rifle. It works the same, it works the same fundamentals, and you can practice with your rifle. Many AR-15 variants come in a 22, like the Smith & Wesson, and you can train with the exact same platform as your self-defense gun for way less noise, way less blast, and it even make a better hunting tool than a 22 pistol. Now, the last gun I want to talk about on the list is probably the one you need the least. That being said, I personally really like to have one because I live in the country and long range engagements do happen. A lot of times I have to shoot coyotes, a lot of times I have to shoot roaming steel targets at distance just for fun. That being said, a bolt action rifle in a longer range configuration is a good idea. And what I mean by that is usually an AR-15 or an AK is good out to about 300 yards for most people. Good shooters can push them literally all the way out to 700 yards. I watched Graham Thumb the other day shooting at 700 yards with a 14.5. That being said, that's not realistic for most people, and I think that a bolt action rifle is a really good choice for especially learning marksmanship, because a lot of times when you don't have that second trigger pull, you don't just volley fire at a thing, you really practice the fundamentals, you sit back, you wait, you control your breathing, and you make the shot that you need to hit, and that'll actually help you with all the other firearms as well. That being said, it probably makes the best hunting tool in my opinion. And I think that in a without rule of law type scenario, which we seem to be walking more and more toward, which I can't even believe I'm gonna say that. These videos used to be theoretical 10 years ago, and now they're almost inevitable. But I really do believe that this will give you the best chance for a longer range engagement, and they are very cheap as well. You can get into a Savage Axis for about $300, and you can get in this Ruger Predator series for about $550, and this is an absolutely excellent gun. Now, some of the advantages to this is I actually have this in 5.56, and I do shoot 77 grain out of it. So it uses the exact same ammunition that I use for self-defense and practice with my AR-15. It also uses the exact same magazines, which is pretty cool. So you can stockpile just one type of ammo, use your bolt gun for hunting and long range engagements, and then use your AR for self-defense. Now, you can get it in a bigger calibers, and I would suggest that. I also have many bolt guns in other calibers, and I would recommend something like 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, because if stores aren't open because of rioting or supply chain issues, it's very easy to get them anywhere, big box store, and they're pretty cheap, so you can just save them up over time, or you can stockpile them or whatever you need to do. So I like the bolt action rifle for hunting. Other than just a hunting application, the other thing this can be used for is an impromptu self-defense weapon. A bolt action 5.56 or a bolt action 7.62, even in close quarters, is still very formidable if you know how to use it. Trust me, they use bolt action rifles as the standard infantry weapon in World War I and World War II for the most part, and it got a whole bunch of people. So to think that you can't CQB with a bolt action rifle, you're absolutely crazy. It does work for long range shooting. It is fun, and it would be a great hunting tool, but as I said, if you can't afford an AR-15 and the only thing you can get into is a $300 Savage, if you want to shoot some long range, you want to hunt and stuff like that, it can also be used as a pretty decent self-defense weapon as well. And I know the world's crazy, but hopefully as a community we can band together and we can affect change on a small level, and that will reverberate like ripples in a pond. Just be good to the people around you and help your community around you. Everybody tries to affect global change and they all decide that they can't do it, the world's too big and I can't do anything. Yes, you can. You can affect the people around you, and you can affect the places that you live in. Whatever you think that can help the community around you, it'll help bring up people's spirits, it'll make people feel less afraid, and hopefully we can get through this together. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please support our Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. So now you'd have to rack the bolt before you can shoot again.
Okay, what a dumb system. I'm not a bolt rifle gal.
Ram it. You got it stuck?
Ugh, this is not for me. This is why I choose ARs.